What's up, guys? Welcome to another edition of our Raspberry Pi implementation. Essentially is what we're doing. We're going to be today looking at the you controlling GPIO via the web. I know my last video was on some Java-based control stuff. I'm actually going to move a little bit away from that. I found something that's actually really simple and pretty straightforward, and I think we're going to look at that one. And just for time beings, because Java's being a little complicated, I'm sure I will figure it out. I'll post it when I do. But for the time being, I think we're going to go ahead and we'll use this other one. What I want to talk about is one that is called WebIOPi, which is found at this Google Code link. I'll go ahead and put a link in the description about this, but anyway, WebIOPi. This is actually a pretty cool little project that I found. What it is it's basically it's the web-based GPIO, and when I first ran across this, I thought that it was just basically you got just this default web page. I don't know if you can see this, but where you can click on these and choose in and out, and you can click on it and flip GPIO pins high and low and things like that. I thought that was all it did, was you just got this one default page. Well, as you read on, it has multiple different tools. Like, see here, it's got serial monitor. It's got where you can, if you're attaching ADC or something, any I2C stuff, you can monitor it with this. It's actually a pretty powerful tool. But the main thing, excuse me, the main thing is that you can customize it. If you can see here, you can like customize it with, let's say, JavaScript, and it has a whole bunch of different functions that you can work with, and that's what we will be working with. We're going to be showing you how to mess with this. So basically, for changing up the view of it, there's some CCS that you can do. Those of you that are familiar with web design, which is basically CCS is kind of like the formatting of everything. So that's how you get the different buttons and whatnot. Let's go back here. How you get this different format and how you create your buttons and all that, and the fonts and colors and all that stuff is with CCS or CSS. I think I've been saying CSS. And anyway, so we will be looking at how to do all this. But first, we need to install it. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab our wonderful little terminal window here, or terminal to the Raspberry Pi right now. So what we're going to do is we are going to issue the wget, which stands for webget, http://webiopi.google.code.com/files/web-io-pi-0.6.0.tar.gz. So this will go out and get it. Well, if you don't get it, maybe I should just cut and paste this. This probably be easier. I'm gonna copy it and paste it from the other deal. There we go. That went and got it. Okay. Works better if you cut and paste. Probably me typing it mess things up. So now, if we do a quick ls, we'll see that it is there. It is actually in here. So cool beans. We're going to go ahead and extract it using the tar xvzf WebIOPi.gz. So bang, that's going to extract it. Now we need to install it. So first off, we're going to cd into the directory, and then we are going to perform the setup.sh shell. Okay, so now this should install our WebIOPi. Once this installs, we should be able to play with the interface. Now we still have Apache installed and all that, except I think that it runs its own web script, if I remember right. So you may not have to have Apache installed, but don't quote me on that. I have not tried this without Apache installed. But right now, just from where we left off with our last videos, I haven't really changed anything up. We're still at the same spot as we were before. So we'll go ahead and let this install. I think I may pause the video right here until it fully installs. So I'll be back when this is finished. Okay, all right. Well, we're back now. So isn't that just magical? I love how that we can fast forward that. I had to sit through the painful install, but you guys got to watch it just happen. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to make sure it installed okay. We're going to say sudo, and we're going to say WebIOPi and hit enter. We should get pretty much all the information saying that it's doing its thing. Okay, so the HTTP server is binded on 8,000 and whatnot. So basically what we can do, since we typed that, we should be able to now go to it. I grab myself a deal. I don't know why AVG is now my default web page. I don't like that. Well, I'll change it later. So now if we go and we do :8,000, we should get it. Yep. And here it is. So if you click on GPIO header, now we have the GPIO. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click on our GPIO. What I'm going to do is I'm going to choose number 7, and I'm going to choose that as an output. And I should be able to turn it on and turn it off. How cool is that? Click it on, and we click it off. So that's pretty much the standard. And so here in a second, I'm going to come back and we're going to show how to create it for ourselves. So one more time, on and then off. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to now show you how to create your own custom one. Now, also, I went ahead and hit Control-C. That got me out of starting that. You can run it as a background sequence. See, as we ran it just a little bit ago, you saw that it was rendered useless my console basically until I stopped it from running. So you can start the background surface by doing a sudo etc/init.d WebIOPi WebIOPi, and then you do a start enter, and that should start the service. So if we do the same thing, grab ourselves a new tab, we hit 192.168.130. Oh, whoops. Yeah, that's our Apache web page. Forgot 8,000 is our port. Oh, we even get the username and password, which let's see if I remember right. I think it's the same one. Oh, nope. Let me look up really fast. I forgot what the default security stuff was. Give me just 1 second. Okay, yeah, it is WebIOPi, and the password is raspberry. And there it is. So then we click on same thing, GPIO header and all that stuff, and it'll do the same thing. So that's pretty much what you got. And then that starts, I'll go ahead and get rid of this. That starts a background service where I can still do stuff. To stop the background service, you just put in stop and hit enter, and then that basically disables the web server. So that's how you can start a background service to where you still have console access to the Raspberry Pi. So that's basically it for how to install this. So now we'll be taking a look at how to write our own set of scripts for this. Okay guys, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how to create your own customized web page now. So I've gone ahead and cleared the screen out so that we can see what we're doing here. I've created some stuff already. I kind of paused the camera and now I'm back, and so I've kind of created some stuff so that way you guys didn't have to see me doing all that jargon. What I did was I created a folder called programming. So we're gonna cd into that now, and oops, there we go. And I created an index file. Okay, so index.html. So we're going to see what's in there. So we're going to do a sudo nano and index. And what this is this is going to be an HTML file. If you guys want the actual, let me know if you guys actually want the source for this. You can look in my comments below. Comment, let me know if you actually need the source for this. I can post it somewhere. I can put it maybe on the project code link if you guys would like the actual source for this, but it's pretty easy to follow along. What I did was, if you go to WebIOPi's website, they have kind of some sample stuff for you to look at for the customization. Where I got it was, let me bring this over here. There we go. Okay, what I have is, if you go to the code.google.com/p/WebIOPi or whatever, I'll put the link to this. I'll put this link down below. But if you go here, click on Customize, and then choose HTML, you'll get basically a custom HTML file that they give you that creates basically this. So what you have to do, there is a caveat to this, though, that I spent quite a bit of time going around in circles trying to figure out, and I'll show you what that is later, what I'm talking about. But you can copy this first heading piece that's here, this first heading, which calls the JavaScript, and it uses JavaScript, and it's a little bit, JavaScript obviously is not Java, so you don't have to create applets and all that stuff with it, which is kind of the reason why I chose this WebIOPi one once I found out that there was customization with it using JavaScript, because JavaScript is Java, but it's written as a scripting language, so you can embed it into HTML code. It was designed specifically for HTML code, well, specifically for web-based stuff. Whereas you create using Java, you can create web applets, which in times can prove to be a little bit more powerful. But when you want to do just simple web page-based stuff, you need some controls on a web page. JavaScript is where it's at. So I found this is a lot easier than doing it with Java, creating applets and all that, and servlets and all that junk that it takes to get a Java applet to do this same thing. So anyway, what you're going to do is you can copy this head piece and copy these bottom pieces. What we're going to do is we're basically just going to delete this section and put my own stuff in. But again, I'll put this code, whoops. I'll put the link to that code somewhere in the description or something at some point. And so, excuse me just a minute. Oh, sorry there for a second, I had to sneeze. Anyway, you guys don't want to hear that now, do you? All right, anyway, what we got going on, back to back to what I wrote. So basically this is that header that I was talking about, okay? And so we've got that written. Now what we're going to do is come down here and we're going to call the WebIOPi.ready function, and it has a curly brace to it, yes. And this right here is what you have to have that is not in that other file. You have to, I ran around with this, I found that everything else works, everything else I'm about to show you works except for the Gpio button. Basically just a button that will change the state of a Gpio pin, which is what we want it to do. We want to be able to press a certain button, button control that we put in our web page, and it toggle the Gpio pin to high. We press it again, it toggles it low. We press it again, toggles it high. It just toggles between high and low. That's what we want. Well, if you do not set basically the tri-state register on the IO pin to output in the HTML file, it doesn't matter. You can actually set it outside of this. You can set it in the basically the terminal window, but it does not stick. The minute you run this HTML file, for some reason it does not stick with this HTML, and I think the reasoning is because the HTML file cannot talk directly to like a terminal prompt, essentially. So what you have to do is you have to declare your tri-state registers, basically which function pin you're going to set as out, or just set the function of the pin. This one, since this one's just input output, you can set it to in or out. Some pins are PWM pins, so you'd say PWM here, and just whatever the function is of the pin, you set. You say set function, and it's all explained in WebIOPi's website. They have all the commands and what they do and the different parameters you can put in. And so, but you have to use this to set up your Gpio pin, otherwise it will not work. And I've seen that on forums and whatnot, that lots of people have been led astray by this and been just spinning their wheels trying to figure out how to get this to work. And it's because of that. And in their example, they do not have this in there. They show the command to create the button, but they do not show you this set function that actually sets that pin to an output. So that's very important piece. So we go down here and we say var content, and then we also do a button variable, and those are basically to get the the content handlers and whatnot to work right, and that's where we say content is equal to, and then the $ content that grabs a handle to the page that we're working on. Then we've got button. We've got WebIOPi, and this first button is going to be equal to, we're going to say WebIOPi dot create sequence button. This is going to create an SOS sequence. This is again from that one page I showed you that has the examples in it. They have this as one of their examples, and basically you can put in a string of ones and zeros, and that's basically what it'll do. It'll flip the pin high and low in this sequence. The first parameter is a label for the sequence, so we labeled it SOS. The second parameter is what the actual text will be inside the button when it's created. So the text inside the button is going to be SOS1. And then the next parameter is going to be what GPIO pin are we wanting to mess with. And then the next is how many milliseconds between shifts of the sequence do we want. So we're saying 100 milliseconds. So between the first, for instance, between the first 0 and the first 1 will be 100 milliseconds, and the next 100 milliseconds, the next 100. And then the next and the very last parameter then is, like I showed you, will be the actual sequence itself, so however that works. And then what we have to do is then after that we have to add that button to our current web page. So that's where we have the content, which, like I said, content is our variable that stores the current web page. It's basically our handler that our handle to the current web page. So it takes the current web page, we say dot append, and then we pass button variable through the append function as a parameter, and that will then take that button. We created it, told it what it is, and then it will now append it to the web content that we have. Also, we have button equals WebIOPi dot create GPIO button. One thing I want to say, the sequence button, and there's also a pulse button that will pulse. You can see that in the on their website, the different parameters and different things you can do. There's one that's called pulse. Those do not require this statement up here, the set function statement. However, I still highly recommend you put it in there. But they do not require it. They will work without declaring this statement. Again, more confusion when you do this for the first time, and you, in their example, you do not see this, and it all of a sudden the GPIO pin, the GPIO button, the one down here, GPIO button doesn't work, but yet sequence button will work. And well, that's why is that for some reason the sequence button function that they have, and same with the pulse button function, do not require you to call the set function and declare whether it's input or output before doing it. So they must have that declare already inside this function definition somewhere. I don't know. But anyway, for this GPIO button though, this has to be declared. Otherwise, this will not work. The button still appears because we create the button, we append it, and everything. The button still appears, but again, it doesn't work. You click on it and nothing happens. So anyway, GPIO button, you pass to it which GPIO pin, which in this case we're using pin 7, is to be toggled essentially, and then you label your button. So we're just labeling it LED. Then we do our close stuff, and then down here we close our script, and then down here we use, this is where we start doing some CCS a little bit, or CSS, good grief, I've used the CCSC compiler so much I just have CCS on the brain. Okay, CSS, this is where we declare basically what everything's going to look like. I don't know if those of you that may not have messed with the CSS, I haven't really messed with it a whole lot, but anyway, it's basically a way of formatting your stuff. So we call button, so all the button variables will be displayed as a block. There'll be a square. They'll have basically a border around them of 5 pixels. Their width will be 160 pixels, height pixels, height 45 pixels. Font size will be 24 point. Font weight is going to be bold, and the color will be black for font. So there we go. So that takes care of what the button looks like. input type range, display block width, all this fun stuff. Now, here's where we get into an interesting bit. This Gpio7.low and Gpio7.high, and it says background color white and background color red. What that will do is when you click the button, when you actually click our LED button, our Gpio button, it will change the background color to white when it's low, when we're outputting a 0, and it'll change it to red when it's outputting a high, so that way you know if it's on or off, essentially, once you click it. So it's kind of a nice little feature. That way you can, if you have multiple buttons all over your stuff. And by the way, if you need GPIO 8, you just add it down here in GPIO 8.high and GPIO 8.low and change the colors and whatever. And it just helps you if you're writing some interface for people to push on. Like I've seen a lot of thermostats that are done like this. People have thermostat controls and whatnot that are using this ability, and they take a Raspberry Pi and wire it into their thermostat at their house, and then they have this cool web-based deal to push the buttons with, and then you can see if the fan's on, it'll be red, and if you've got other functions selected, there'll be different colors and whatnot. This is how you do that. This is how you do those different colors, is with this. So anyway, that's basically our HTML file. Pretty straightforward and simple. Now here's the next thing. It will always default to that same index, you know, that one that I showed you that had just the GPIO header a little bit ago previously in this. That will, we want to change that up. You know, we want to change its index to our index, our new one. So in order to do that, we have to do a sudo etc WebIOPi and then config. There's a config file that's at this location. If you, oh, whoops, helps if I do nano. Sorry, gotta get an editor out here. Okay, sudo nano etc WebIOPi and then config. Okay, so now it brings us into our config file. Now we gotta zip on down through here. Now, if you create a script, you can create a Python script. There's a fairly easy scripting language that you can do. If you create a Python script, you're going to come down here. As you can see, I kind of did one. I did one in my programming file, and what you have to do is you have to basically tell it the path to where that script file is. So that way, when you run your IOPi, it'll run the script in the right place. But for now, we're going to leave that commented because we're not running a script. We're doing an HTML file. It's on down to HTTP is where we're at. Now, I went ahead and changed the port to 8080 just because I could. I was playing around with it, wanted to see what it would do. So I changed the port from 8000 to 8080 for this one. Okay. So now, also down here, our file containing our password is our password file. That is in etc WebIOPi password is where that's at. And so you can leave it if you want, or you can you can change it up. You can change that path too if you need to. It's kind of whatever you want to do. But basically, that will ask for authentication when you log in, right? When you log in, it'll ask for authentication. So that's good to have going. The default, as you saw in previously, it's the same one. It was WebIOPi, and then it was Raspberry was the deal. You can also go in and edit this password file and make it your own, whatever, your own login password and whatever you want to make it. So, but just know that that's where you put the path for that password file. And you could create a whole different password file somewhere else. Just make sure and update this path. Now, I've already gone ahead and taken the comment off, but this was, commented out, and I took the comment out. But it's use doc_root to change default HTML and resource file location. So this doc_root changes the location basically of where your index file is. So once you start your server, as we'll use the background method as you saw before. When you start the server, it will, since this is uncommented, it will actually go to this new doc_root that you put in and look for an index.html file. And that's also down here. It says use welcome file to change the default welcome file. That's where you can you can change it and you put index.html. And so therefore it looks in doc_root for this document that you're putting here, which is index.html. And then it'll load that, or at least that's the HTML file the web server will point to. So once you get those things done, once you get those things done, it's time to go ahead and start our server. So just like before, we're going to etc init.d/WebIOPi start. Oh, whoops. Forgot. We got to do. Oh, what happened here? We gotta do sudo. Again, forgetting to do that. Okay, I found out another command that I forgot to show you guys, but you can always do status. That same deal, etc initd WebIOPi, and then type status, and it'll tell you if WebIOPi is running or not. And it appears that it is, so let's just check it out. I'm going to grab me a window here. 30, 80, 80, hit enter. See what we come up with. May take it a minute. Sometimes it takes it a minute if it's the first time you've ever logged in, because it has to do that authentication deal, and I don't know why mine for some reason lags a little bit. Of course, could be the way I've got mine connected up. I got it kind of connected up through kind of a crummy switch right now. Okay, here we go. So WebIOPi is our username. Raspberry, login, and there we go. Here's our SOS. So there's our two buttons here and here. So now what we're gonna do is, now we got our little window up here. Now we're gonna go ahead and test it out. So we're gonna hit our LED, and voila, it turns on and it turns red. Pretty cool. Off, and it turns white like we told it to. Red, white. Now let's go ahead and try our SOS one. And there it goes. It's all blinking and doing its thing. So there you go. So that's basically how you do it, how you create your WebIO stuff. And oh, one thing I ought to show you, the I gotta show you guys this. I gotta show you the other stuff. Hang on, just a second. I'm gonna pause for a minute because I gotta go grab something. Be paused just for a second. Yeah, guys, check this action out. Alright, I got my droid here, and hopefully that's not too bright and gonna make this look weird, but I can push LED on, LED off, LED on, LED off, and that's from my droid, but I'm using my web page. Okay, I'm connected to my Wi-Fi. Whoops, I'm connecting to my Wi-Fi at home. That's that up there. I'm connecting to my Wi-Fi, so therefore I'm in the same network. I can use my phone. How cool is that? So see, LED on, LED off, and this is how you're seeing people do that, using their phone and whatnot. Now you could go ahead and do DNS, and oh look, my phone's updating. How fun is that? Don't you just love updates? I love them so much. Merp. On, off. Anyway, you can even have your smartphone, if you have a smartphone, do it, because as long as it has, well, actually, I don't think it really has to have Java. I don't know. My like I said, my smartphone is one of the Droid Razors, so it has Java and all that fun stuff. So I'm not real sure if it has to have. You can throw in the comments below if you know of a phone that may not work with this method, but it seems like at least smartphone, that may not work with this method. But so far as I know, mine works, and the iPhone, I believe, will do it. I haven't tried it yet. I'll have to try it. I think my wife has an iPhone, so we may try it with that. But there you go. That's that. So okay, we're gonna go back to the computer now. So okay, guys. So basically, we're back at the computer. Basically, that's just about it. That's kind of where we're at with all of this. It's pretty darn cool that you can do this. Like I said, all you gotta do is make sure the one main caveat is make sure and do that config. Go to that config place and configure it. Make sure you go down here and you put in whatever port you're going to use. Make sure you have your password file, your doc root set up wherever you're wanting your password file to be. And like mine was at that home Pi programming folder, and so that's where I put my doc root as well as my welcome. That's where my welcome file was. The index.html was the one that I was going to use as the main one. So anyway, as long as you set this file up, you should be good to go with that. So with that, guys, I think we'll probably be wrapping this one up. So stay tuned. Please like, subscribe, share. check these out, please definitely share this one. For some reason I'm having trouble with getting my password reset on the raspberrypi.org website, and I told I do have a post there because I was having trouble with some other stuff, and that's where I learned about this WebIOPi, and I told them that I would post probably this video, if not this video series, probably just this video. I would probably post this video, like a link there, and for some reason I'm having password issues. For some reason they're not wanting to take my password for some reason, and I can't reset it either. It just tells me it's already activated, so I don't know what's going on there. So if somebody that's that can log in to that, if they can find my post or find other people's posts that may be having trouble with this, please share it, because I can see that there's a lot of confusion out there, because I was really confused too, and I had some struggles trying to get this all to work. But please share this video, because I know there's lots of people out there that are having trouble with it, and so I would love for this to help them, get over that hump, so to speak. So as always, guys, thank you for watching. I really enjoy making these videos. I enjoy the reception that you guys are showing. You guys seem to be really enjoying these. This is a pretty cool little device, and sadly I think that we're about to wrap up on the Raspberry Pi. I've kind of done pretty much everything I've kind of wanted to do with it, just to see, kind of test drive it out for myself, and I loved sharing that experience with you guys, so it's been really fun. I have one more thing though for it, and I'm sure you all are going to really enjoy it. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Oh, I know the suspense is killing you, but I'm not going to tell you what it is until I release the next video, basically introducing what we are going to be doing, which I think you guys will be really excited about it. I know I am, because this is what I actually kind of bought this for. I bought it partly because I wanted to share the experience of it with you guys, to tell you guys, kind of thank you for all of your support that you've done. I mean, we're over 600 subscribers. This is just unbelievable. I couldn't believe, I figured I made it only have like 6 subscribers, so 600 is incredible. It's amazing. I didn't even think I'd really have any subscribers, actually. I just figured I'd just put this stuff up there kind of for my own, so I wouldn't forget certain things, and you guys have received it wonderfully. So anyway, kind of my thanks to you guys is I'm going to do this next piece of the last video will be what I'm going to actually use this for in my own personal stuff. So, and it's going to be something that's really cool. I've seen ways of doing this, but I haven't actually seen it start to finish, where someone shows you all the coding, all the commands, everything that you need to do to set it all up. Plus there's a little bit of hardware that we're going to be doing there, so we'll kind of get back more into our hardware. We've kind of not been playing with hardware here. It's been mostly software stuff, since the hardware is already pretty much set in stone for you. We'll be doing a little bit of hardware stuff that we connect to some of the external GPIO and whatnot, and it ought to be pretty cool. You ought to really like it. So, well, guys, I've rattled on enough for one video. So I hope you found this enjoyable. And like I said, please share this one to anybody that seems to be confused with this, because it was kind of confusing out of the box. So please share this, like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Guys, I think that ought to do it. Take care.